Oh, welcome. I'm Jen, and this is our test kitchen today. Sorry.
Water.
I can turn off the camera for a sec.
I just got put it much. No water. I don't know the top of the head and I can see my banshee ass.
Awesome. All right. Sorry about this. Okay.
She's not sorry about me.
No, I'm not sorry about him. Not at all. I'd get him to hang out with me more if I could. He's not ready for this yet. There we go. The elusive husband. Anyway, yes, welcome to my test kitchen. Today we are testing out a recipe for sugar cookies. I would show you the recipe, but it is in a fairly old, well-loved Betty Crocker cookbook that it's basically completely falling apart. So I've basically just written down the recipe, and I did type it out in the description below, which is why we're running a little late today. But that recipe is typed out, and then I am doing my own kind of alterations, but that's only on the baking side. I'm trying to see if I can get some kind of monster cookies for my own educational purposes. And anyway, and so with my monster cookies, I'm trying out different cookie recipes, making 3-ounce cookies. So far, they have been going very well. And with this one, we're trying to do sugar cookies as well. I did do a test batch, and they're right there to go in the oven. I forgot to preheat the oven. I thought I had told it to start, and I forgot to hit the actual start button. So I was going to put the cookies in the oven and then hit start live stream, and it wasn't hot. So I have that started. These were in the oven, or not the oven, the freezer, before they were sitting here. And so they are at least very chilled, if not partially frozen. They were only in the freezer for about 30 minutes. But so today is sugar cookies. This is supposed to be a fairly light and fluffy recipe, so I'm really excited about it. Let's So I'm going to start that at 15 minutes. They're only supposed to cook at 6 to 8 minutes at 400, but I have them at 350, so we'll see what they do. Maybe I should do 10 minutes. We'll check on that. Anyway, so yes, let's take a look at our ingredients and see what we're doing. So I had these all laid out nice and beautifully earlier, and that made me really excited. But gonna follow along. We have 3/4 cup butter, so it's 1.5 sticks. 1 cup of sugar, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 2.5 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Mine is obviously very chunky, and so we're going to put that through the sieve in order to break that up. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. So it's a fairly basic recipe, not a ton of ingredients. Today I am using a large cookie sheet with a baking mat like I normally do. I have a large bowl and a sieve. We have some cling wrap because this dough does need to chill in the refrigerator for a little while, so I like to wrap it up in some cling wrap. I do have a dough scraper for sectioning out the dough. And then today I am using a hand mixer. You can use a stand mixer if you like. but we're just using a hand mixer today. And of course, we're gonna weigh out the dough a little bit later, so I always use my scale for weighing, but I have it put aside for so that it's not in the way. All right, so we have all of our things. Let's get started. I'm gonna bring the bowl over to our mixing area. And while I'm kind of moving everything over here so that we can actually run into the cabinet apparently, so that we can actually get started on making the recipe. So while I'm moving everybody over, I do want to let y'all know that as of right now, I am in 7th place with the favorite chef competition. I really appreciate you guys. It is all because of you all going and voting for me that I am up as high as I am. So, like, I can go and vote for me. I can ask my family to vote for me, and we're getting as many people as we can. And you all are making a difference for this for me, and I really appreciate it. So, thank you very much. All right, so we're for the sugar cookies. We're going to start off with our softened butter. And I usually just take the butter out in the morning whenever I'm going to bake, so that by the time I get to noon to bake, it's all nice and soft. Let's get a little scrapula. Yeah, rubber spatulas are always good to have on hand when you're baking. So, all right. So we have our butter. And so I'm just going to set aside the eggs for right now. So butter, sugar. And I can just put the eggs back into the bowl. There we go. We have things that we're doing. Okay. And so I'm just going to cream the butter and sugar together. This will be loud for just a moment. So that is looking nice and fluffy, but I really like to cream butter and sugar together, so I'm just going to scrape this down and cream it one more time just to make sure it's as fluffy, buttery as I can stand it. All right, that is looking nice and airy. Awesome. That was a good call for me too. Okay, so we're gonna set this off to the side for just a moment while we crack our eggs. And I just crack them into the bowl here. And I think technically you should do these one at a time, but I don't feel like doing that right now, so we're doing it. Look at this with both the eggs and everything else. It's usually a good idea to beat them in one at a time just so it doesn't break it, but I just put a lot together at one time and make it all fluffy. So I just keep going until it's fluffy and it works out. And then, so we have our 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and then beat this all together. So I am going to do this a little bit more. You can see it mostly has come together, but it does have a little bit of like a grainy look to it. But I also have this chunky stuff up here on the edge that I forgot to scrape down. So we scrape all of that down real quick so that we can get all of this nice and fully mixed and fluffy together. There we go. See, if you keep going, it kind of thickens back up again, and it's that nice, fluffy, buttery texture that we had before. Nice and buttery. It's that same creamy, buttery texture it was before. It's not like grainy and separated looking. It's just all nice and incorporated. All right, so for this next part, you don't necessarily have to sift your flour in. I'm doing it because I want to. So that, and I need to sift my baking powder, so I might as well. The salt's not going to sift through, so I'm going to have to dump it out at the end because I have it in here. But we'll go ahead and just dump all of this into my wire sieve here. If you have one of the old school cranking ones, that works too. I'll try to avoid putting the salt in that one though, because they're a lot harder to get out of that, but it'll still work. All right. Have all of that in there. And then just sift it. I usually find that this first part is the hardest part because technically it's overfilled. And so it doesn't like it, but once I get it down to where it should be, then it just goes really quickly. See? Super fast. It's just that starting point because I had it overfilled. See, now I can just run this along here and it's like a cheese grater and it grates it down into little tiny baking powder bits. So this just we moved here from Oregon and it was really humid there, so it just got clumpy, but it's okay. And see, like I was saying, the salt's not going to go through because it's too big for the sieve. So let me just finish getting the baking powder bites all kind of done, and we'll just dump it and then knock everything out of here. And there we go. We have our masterpiece. Cookies still need another minute, so that's good. All right, and then with your mixer, you're gonna want to go slowly because all the powder flour is gonna puff up if you don't go slow. So just take it easy. Good morning. You can see all of this flying up. If you have a stand mixer, they often have a guard that you can put on so that this kind of thing doesn't happen. But you see, as we get it all mixed in, it stops flying around so much and it's just incorporated. So now that it's incorporated, we can turn the mixer up a little bit. And I always let it spin a little bit to get the excess off into here. So there we go. We have our sugar cookie dough all mixed up and ready to get set aside to chill. So what I'm going to do, let's set this aside and get our plastic wrap. Set the mixer aside as well. And then we'll just take a length of plastic wrap out on the counter. If you feel better with scissors, or if you have a different kind of plastic wrap, cut it however is easiest for you. Then, let's see how I that out. Anyway, and then, so we're just going to take our sugar cookie dough and plop it here in the middle of the plastic wrap. And I like to try to get as much every little bit that I can, because any little bit that's left in here can't be made into cookies. So, all right. I think we just about got what we can out of here. And then let me show you what I'm going to do. So just so that you guys can be absolutely sure that you know that I'm doing this with clean hands, I'm going to wash my hands really quick. I probably could show you guys me washing my hands. Shake, shake, shake. I'm only going to shake my hands off too, because this won't really get incorporated into it. This is a high butter. So we're just going to use our fingers to wipe off the heater here. The rubber spatula. Then we'll take our beaters, just set that there, and then just use our fingers to pull all the excess off of the beaters here. Up through the middle, up through the middle. Isn't it the cutest timer ever? That is the microwave timer. It is telling me that the cookie should probably be ready. So let's finish getting the stuff out of this one. And then we'll take a, thank you, we'll take a look at the cookies in question. All right. How these look done. So these ended up baking at 350 for 15 minutes, and they look pretty good. So we're going to take those out and let them cool, and we're going to go ahead and turn off the oven for now. But anyway, so I get all of the cookie dough off of the beaters. Now, if you have kids and you don't care about getting all of the little cookie dough out of here, and your kids like cookie dough, then feel free, give the beater to your kids. Let them eat it. It's like not like they're not going to eat the cookies later. For the weirdest thing, my kids don't like cookie dough. I don't know if it's because we were living in a lot of small spaces when they were little, so I didn't get as much of a chance to bake, and so they didn't really get to eat cookie dough. Or if maybe it's just not that good, and everybody's just weird. Maybe they just don't like it. I don't know. options, all of the options. So anyway, we're gonna wrap this up, and I do want to kind of press this into like a disc-like shape as we're going along here. See, disc-like, dislike. No, don't dislike, please. Like, please like and subscribe. All of that fun stuff. Anyway, so just press it, and we have a little bundle of joy. Dough, joy, potato, potato. And then this is just going in the fridge. And the recipe says it should rest in the fridge for 4 hours. But quite honestly, 4 hours, it just really needs to be chilled. It needs to be chilled all the way through. So if you put it in the freezer, that could work. What I did earlier is I chilled mine for an hour, and then I sectioned it out into dough. I did 3-ounce sections. Sectioned it out into 3-ounce sections, and then I kind of patted them into little disc shapes. I laid them flat and I froze them for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and then I put I put 4 on the sheet to bake, and then I have 5 because if you're making big 3-ounce cookies, this makes about 9 cookies. If you roll them out to 1/8 of an inch and you cut them into 3-inch wide cookies, then it should make about 4 dozen. But if you leave them 1/2 an inch, 3/4 of an inch, and then you make them 3-inches around as cookie dough, then they get about 3 ounces, and they pop up to be these big jokers. Ooh. Okay. Deep breath. There we go. So yeah, we kind of did this simultaneously, but yeah, preheat the oven for 350, and I bake them for 15 minutes, and I was just checking on them every 5 minutes or so, just to check on them. But they look nice and golden. Let me rinse my hands real quick. Thanks for the love. But let's see. I can show you doing all that here in a minute. These, I don't know if this has been sitting here long enough. All right. Look, we have a nice golden brown bottom, and we have like a light golden top. We can wait for these to cool all of the, we can wait for these to cool all of the way, and you can put frosting on them, which I think I'm going to do with these. One other thing that I want to try to do is we might do this here in just a minute, just because. I'm gonna give that a few minutes to chill. No, let's throw that in the freezer. We're gonna throw the cookie dough in the freezer. Let's give it a few minutes to try to really chill. And we'll see if we can section it down into cookies. And then what I want to do is I want to see about putting, not sprinkles, colored sugar on them, and seeing how that bakes out. But that's going to have to be fairly concentrated on there. I know colored sugar into cookies usually works really well, and that's like a good coating for them. But these did spread out a bit. That's part of the reason why I did 4 on the tray, is because I wanted to see how much they would spread. I didn't want to put too many on there and then have them spread in all kinds of directions and end up with one big cookie. While delicious, and it'd be amazing for like a cookie cake or something, which that should be one of our next things to try. Coming up. I have a couple of cookie recipes I'm working on, but we'll do a cookie cake here semi soon. But yeah, so I'm gonna try the sprinkles in the dough. The dough I already have in there is kind of it's really hard and it's kind of frozen. I can try to see if I can like put sprinkles on there when it's frozen and see how that does. That could be good too. So I want to bake all of these bigger cookies from frozen. That's just something I'm wanting to do, and I want to do it because when I bake them for longer so that they can bake through the center, I don't want them to like spread a lot. I want them to try to stay smaller. And so if they're frozen, then as they're baking, my idea here is that as they're baking, they'll spread a little bit and then that part will cook and then it can't really spread further than that. So it has to be tall because otherwise I think that they'd be like really thin and crispy and that's not what I want. So these are looking great. Let's um, let's look at the center of one of these and see if it's the nice fluffy that I really want. So I have this. I'm going to open it up. There's a nice crumb in there. It has a nice like fluffy texture looking. This is looking awesome. Let me just pull off a little bite and let's see. Let's see. That is a nice fluffy texture. Let me double check the middle here. The middle does feel like it might need like another 1 more minute so that it's fully cooked all the way. But it's not super underdone. So I could really appreciate that. So yeah, these are kind of like medium well plus. They're not well done, but they're just like medium well plus like 10 seconds. So yeah, no, those are really good. Those are light and fluffy. And I think with the little buttercream icing, they'd probably still be amazing. So that's what I'll try later. Maybe I can put some sprinkles on those. But for these other ones, I'm gonna try them from frozen and from. I want to try putting the sprinkles on them when they're frozen and when it's just cold dough. So, let's see. We'll portion out the dough and put some sprinkles on these, and we'll bake them later. We're not gonna bake those today. So let's get some sprinkles, and then we can work on portioning out the dough here. We need a small plate to turn on this light. And then I'm going to go get the sprinkles, and then we have our scale. So I have, and this is where the dough cutter comes in handy. So, let's see. I also need a sheet pan. All right. I see this? Not quite. We'll get there. All right, this wasn't entirely on the plan for today. But we can roll the punches. We're good at adapting. Adapt and overcome. We can do it. All right. Well, I think that the cookie doughs had 5 minutes to chill. It should be fine. Right. Right. 5 minutes is totally equal to 2 hours. 4 hours. Yeah, no, this is totally goopy and kind of soggy, and it's going to stick to everything. Just so you know. Don't be like me. Chill it for 4 hours and it will actually be like harder dough consistency. This is going to be fairly goopy. This isn't going to want to cooperate as much as I'm going to want it to. So that's cool. That's fine. This is the corner where we'll start. So I just weigh these out. 3 ounces. Cut it into a little circle. I did have the bigger guides on the other pan to help me. And so I kind of used those to tell me how big around. But I think that we can do this without too much issues. 3.56, cut off some. See, it's really soft. It's really soft. It's not wanting to participate. All right, 3 ounces. There we go. Yeah. If you're gonna mess with the dough and it's softer, it's just gonna be a lot harder to deal with. When it's when you chill it fully, you should be able to roll it out. So if you want to roll it out and make like Christmas cookies or something like that, this is a perfect dough for that. I'm just trying to do these as bigger cookies and see like what I can do with the cookie dough recipe. Like, can I get it? Ooh, can I get it to work the way I want it to? How big can I make it? Like, what do I need to do these kind of things? Like, how can I decorate it? So we're just answering questions here right now. We're just answering questions about like what we can do with the dough and what it'll do when we do these things. So it's a fun time, fun time. And I am going to put this in the freezer. So these are going to chill more after I shape them this way. Now, it's not required to shape them this way. Like I said, you can chill the dough like you're supposed to, and then it'll roll out nicely. Roll it out and cut out your sugar cookies, your Star Spangled Banners, whatever sugar cookie you are making. I don't know how these will cook up when they're thinner because I'm trying for a thick cookie, but I imagine just by the crust of these that they'd still be a nice nice fluffy cookie. They're not going to be like super chewy, and it's as long as you don't overcook them, they're not going to get like super crunchy or anything weird like that. Because you overcook anything and it becomes crunchy. That's just kind of how things work for the most part. I guess some things become more and more soggy, but if you were to put it in a fire, eventually it would become crunchy. It just might be ashes. All right, so when I made this before, it made 9 cookies, and well, it probably that's probably what it's going to make again. We're getting for the 9 cookies. 3. There we go. So we have these are going out exactly 3 ounces, and this is just what I did before. Just kind of weighed them out, made them into little cookie discs, and just kind of just pressing them to be roughly the same shape and size. Oh, that's going to be way too big. I knew that before I even started it. All right, if it starts getting stuck on your fingers, you can always use your cutter to like scrape it off your fingers too. It doesn't just have to scrape off of counters and bowls and stuff. You can scrape it off your body too. All right. But if your dough is actually properly chilled and rested, it's not going to be doing this to you. So you shouldn't have these same issues unless you're doing it like I'm doing it, where you only let it chill for a minute and then start shaping it before you fully chill it. Like, probably have the same issues. But one thing to know is that this is a high butter cookie. And so like my hands are getting a little oily. So as long as you're not like squishing and squeezing into it, it won't really like stick to you a lot. It's sticking to me because it's warm and I'm warm, and um so it's like melting onto me, but um that's why I'm just handling it lightly. But if you just handle it lightly and like with a quick hand, like just tap at it instead of like push and um like try to roll it firmly, then it'll stay as a cookie. But if you like try to squeeze into it and like push, like try not to just like tap it and try to like push into it, then it'll stick to you. It'll stick to you hard. All right, so that's the end of it, and we got 3.7. So what I did last time, let's see, take this out. Let's see, 2.9. 3.7. So I'm just going to take a little dollop and put it onto each cookie. Do I know how much these come out to weigh? Not quite, but I imagine it's about 3.3, 3.7, somewhere in there. It doesn't really, I want at least 3-ounce cookies. So the fact that these are 3-ounce cookies and then I have to add a little to it doesn't make me sad. Just pointing that out. So yeah, I'm just kind of tapping this into here so that it can kind of become one with the rest of the cookies. The rest of the cookie. Like blending, blend it, blend it. I'm not blending very well, but blend it. This is the same blending technique I use with my makeup when I wear makeup. I don't wear makeup very often. Tap, 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 tap. All right. Yeah, see, I like the shape of this. So let's kind of bring this up a little bit. You're not so shapely. You're not so shapely. And that's one of the advantages of doing it when the cookie dough is softer like this, is that it's just as easy, if not harder, to mold as the rest of the cookie. If you can just gently tap it into place, tap at it, and it'll move into what you want. Yeah, I'm trying for thick cookies. I want my cookies thick. All right. So I now have my 9 cookies. Let's get the rest of this stuff out of the way. Rinse my hands off because they're covered in butter. All right. So right now we've shaped our soft cookie dough, and I have a bunch of colored sprinkles. Looks like we mostly have green, red, orange. I do have where I mixed some. I basically took some red and add some purple food or some blue food coloring to it. So these are kind of a purpley color. So we'll try this out a little bit. We'll try some of these other out and see what happens. So these are going to have to freeze first, so we're not going to bake these today, but we can at least see what we can get. All right. I do like how these kind of have like a little bit of a shimmer to them. And I am just, for at least this one, I am just kind of dumping one color on it, and I'm not trying to cover all of the cookies with well, all of the cookies are going to have some kind of sprinkles, but like I want this one to have purple sprinkles, and I want the other ones to have like their own sprinkles, and so I don't want them to be like spread out all over everything. Just want them on these cookies. Just on these cookies, please. Thank you. So just gonna go through and coat cookies in sprinkles. I do want to see if there's like a way to do some designs and how the designs turn out. So I am going to practice with that a little bit. Actually, I don't have my. Well, you wouldn't have to try finding stencils at some point and see if I can stencil something onto one of these cookies with sugar. I think that'd be cool. All right, so I'm gonna do half red and half orange. See what we can get here. I just want to see what happens because I have no idea what's going to happen with these. One, I don't. These cookies are going to spread out a little bit, so that's going to be a thing that happens. Two, these are a little bit thicker than what they would be, so I don't know how that's going to affect the sprinkle absorption or the sugar absorption into like making the cookie. We have all kinds of questions. We have all of the questions and some of the answers. All right. You know what? Let's do like a little bit of a color wheel thingy here. I guess I don't know. It's gonna be green. Out to the edges. I wonder what would happen if I like equally mix together the red and the green. Like, how close to purple would the red and green get, or would it just look brown? So let's do that here. Lightly do green, lightly do some red. I think this is just gonna look like a Christmas cookie. We'll do layers too, but I think it's just gonna look like Christmas. Oh, and I think I'm getting these too, like, I'm letting them go too far. I'm letting them fatten out a little too much. Go on a diet. Lose some size. I don't know. Fat shaming cookies. Can you fat shame an inanimate object? Just a question for the peanut gallery. All right, so that looks a lot like Christmas. Okay. Ooh, I wonder if I can do one in like thirds. I know if I had some like kind of blocks or stencils or something that I could make this a lot. I could make this stick on here a lot. Not stick, but I could make the designs a lot easier. Ooh, can we do this as like a hazard symbol? I don't know, probably. But see, like if I had like a paper thing or something here, then the green wouldn't get into the red over there. Oh, I'm having fun, which I think is part of the point. I probably could call my kids in here to have some fun with this. Oopsies. They are having fun playing Minecraft. So, like, they have Minecraft. If I asked them to come bake cookies, they would probably still tell me no. That's okay. So, let's put a little bit more green on here because I want to get it out to the edge as best I can because I have a feeling that these are going to go super far out. Okay. So, I didn't divide that very well. All right. So what else are we gonna do? We have two more cookies. Two more cookie designs. Okay. No suggestions from the peanut gallery? Okay. Let's see. Let's do an orange and green, and then we can do a red and green, like half and half.
Little Christmas.
Right? We did the red and green mixed as a Christmas cookie. Doing some half and halves and seeing how those come out, half and half. And then I got the purple because that one is like I dyed that one weirdly. It was a red sugar that I ended up adding some blue food coloring to, so that was weird. We want to do half red, half green. And I'm starting to make a mess. Like, you look over here and I'm like, let's do this nice and neat. And over here I'm just like, done. All right, so these are going to go into the freezer for probably like an hour or so that they can firm up and hold on to the sugar. And all right, so we made it through sugar cookies. We made the dough, made some up. They're really good today. Yeah, you guys are doing awesome on the favorite chef challenge competition. I'm not sure what to call it, but right now I'm in 7th place in my group, and I need to be in the top 20. So done. It ends on, well, this first round of voting ends on Thursday, and then we'll start the next round of voting after people get cut down, and then I'll have to be in the top 15. So it looks like I'm going to be making it to the next round. So if you want to just boost me up for this round, go ahead and go out and vote. If not, you can wait until after Thursday. And then after Thursday, I'd really appreciate it if everybody came out and voted again. So that way we can get me back up there. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing on Thursday just yet. The pudding turned out amazing, by the way. But we'll figure that out in the meantime. Thanks for hanging out with me and making some sugar cookies and seeing how some of them bake up. I'm going to bake some more over the next day or so and see how that works out. But I appreciate you hanging out with me while I'm working on this. We'll work on something else on Thursday, and we'll talk more about the favorite chef competition. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.